Welcome to this journey where we take a deep look at something that affects almost everyone. The constant urge to figure life out, to solve it like it's some complex puzzle, to demand answers before we even take a single real step forward. Søren Kierkegaard believed this obsession with certainty was a trap, and in many ways his insight feels more urgent now than in his own time. We live in an age overflowing with information. Books, podcasts, motivational speeches, and endless debates on how to live the perfect life. Yet more people feel paralyzed than ever. Anxiety, depression, and indecision are common, and they all seem tied to one root cause: the pressure to make life make sense before we live it. Kierkegaard's message was clear: stop trying to solve life. Stop demanding a perfect plan. Stop standing on the edge of existence waiting for clarity that never comes. Life is not something you think your way into, it's something you step into. But why is that so hard for us? Why do so many spend years searching for ultimate answers while life quietly passes by? The reason is simple and uncomfortable. We crave control. We fear uncertainty so much that we build entire systems, ideologies, and sometimes even religions just to calm that fear. But the truth Kierkegaard saw is that uncertainty is the very condition of life. Remove uncertainty and you remove freedom. You remove what makes life real. Think about how much time people waste waiting for everything to feel certain, waiting for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect sign that they're on the right path. Decades can vanish in this waiting room of life, and it never works, because life never hands you that level of clarity. Even those who seem sure are often just clinging to illusions. History is filled with examples of entire societies chasing certainty, through dogma, through rigid ideologies, and it always ends the same way: stagnation, control, and often violence. Why? Because certainty has to silence questions, and the moment you silence questions, you kill growth. Kierkegaard knew this better than anyone. He lived in a time when religion dominated every aspect of life, promising ultimate answers to every question about existence. But those answers came at a cost. They demanded blind acceptance. They traded freedom for comfort. Kierkegaard saw how easy it was for people to hide behind ready-made truths instead of confronting the raw reality of their own choices. And he warned that this kind of life is not really lived, it's borrowed. It's a second-hand existence, scripted by others, safe but hollow. So what does it mean to live instead of solving? It means facing the risk that comes with freedom. It means understanding that meaning is not delivered to you like a finished book. It's written through your actions. Every choice you make, even the small ones, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. But most people never pick up the brush because they're terrified of making the wrong mark. They stand frozen, clutching someone else's blueprint, waiting for permission to start. And in that hesitation, life slips away. Consider how this obsession with certainty shapes even our personal dreams. Someone wants to start a business but spends 10 years reading every book, watching every tutorial, planning every detail, and never launches. Another wants to write a novel but keeps waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect structure, the perfect confidence, and the pages stay blank. The irony is, the only way to find clarity is through doing. Action teaches what theory never can. Kierkegaard called this the leap of faith, not in the sense of religious belief, but in the sense of moving forward without guarantees. You leap, not because you know the outcome, but because staying still is death. Modern psychology agrees. Studies show that overthinking, what experts call analysis paralysis, kills creativity and happiness. The brain burns energy running simulations of every possible failure, leaving no energy for real action. People who take small, imperfect steps toward their goals report higher satisfaction than those who obsess over flawless planning. Why? Because reality responds to movement, not to thought. Life reveals itself only to those who engage with it, not those who try to solve it from the sideline. But here's the hard truth. A huge part of this paralysis comes from beliefs we inherit. Many are taught that life comes with a single predetermined purpose and that our job is to discover it, like a hidden treasure. This belief turns existence into a guessing game. You're terrified of making the wrong move because you fear it will take you off the one true path. Kierkegaard tore through that illusion. He said your task is not to find some divine script. Your task is to create meaning through your choices. Existence is not a puzzle handed to you by a higher power. It's an open field where you build your own direction. But that freedom, as liberating as it sounds, terrifies most people. They would rather live under certainty, even if it's false, than face the burden of shaping their own life. This is why so many retreat into systems that promise answers. Religion does this elegantly. It gives you a story of origin, a story of destiny, and rules to follow in between. And for many, that's enough. But Kierkegaard saw the cost. It kills individuality. It replaces authentic choice with imitation. And while it may reduce anxiety, it also reduces depth. The person who never questions, never truly chooses. And without real choice, life becomes an echo, a repetition, not an adventure. Living instead of solving means accepting that discomfort is the price of authenticity. It means recognizing that you will make mistakes, that failure is not a sign you're off course, but proof that you're on a real journey. It means letting go of the fantasy that someday you'll wake up with absolute certainty. That day will never come. And that's not a tragedy, that's freedom. The moment you stop demanding guarantees, life opens. You start noticing opportunities you missed while obsessing over control. You start experimenting, trying, creating. You begin to live forward, not backward. And here's something beautiful Kierkegaard understood. Meaning often appears in retrospect, not in advance. You look back and see the thread running through your choices, the story taking shape. But you cannot see that thread while standing still. You weave it by moving. Waiting for meaning before you act is like waiting for a map of a land that only appears when you walk through it. You learn the terrain by traveling it, and no one can walk it for you. So the next time you catch yourself frozen, paralyzed by the need to have everything figured out, remember this. Life will not hand you clarity first. Clarity is what follows courage. Take the step, write the page, start the project, say the words. Stop trying to solve life like a riddle. Start living it like an unfolding story, because that's what it is. Kierkegaard's insight isn't just theory. It's a mirror to modern life. Look around today. There's a booming industry built on the illusion of certainty. Self-help gurus promise formulas for success. Influencers preach the 5-step plan to happiness, and countless life coaches claim they can tell you your true purpose if you just follow their system. And yet, people are still anxious, still lost, still searching. Why? Because life is not a formula. The need for control is being monetized, but the reality hasn't changed. Uncertainty is the ground you walk on. Every guarantee they sell you is an escape from the truth Kierkegaard faced head-on. You cannot think or buy your way into a meaningful life. You have to live your way into it. Explore how Every Happy uses the tactics Kirkland, Pringle, Rousseau, and Deepius. And what makes this so hard is that we've been trained to see uncertainty as failure. From childhood, we're told there's a right answer to every question, a correct path to follow, a reward for those who never make mistakes. School conditions us for this mindset. Religion often amplifies it. And when we grow up, we carry that conditioning into everything. Careers, relationships, even personal growth. We think, there must be a perfect choice and my job is to find it, so we hesitate. We overanalyze. We spend years collecting advice, comparing ourselves to others, terrified of choosing wrong. But the truth is, wrong choices are part of the process. You cannot arrive at wisdom without wandering through error. You cannot grow without risking pain. Life is not solved like a math problem. It's lived like a journey through an unknown landscape, one step at a time. Kierkegaard warned against living in abstraction, what he called thinking life instead of living it. It's a powerful phrase. Many people today exist entirely in abstraction. They scroll endlessly, comparing curated lives on screens. They read self-improvement tips all day but never practice them. They fantasize about futures they never act on. In this way, life becomes a series of mental rehearsals that never turn into reality. And then at some point they wake up and realize time has passed. The years are gone. They never risked, never tried, never truly lived. This is why Kierkegaard said, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. When you stand before endless possibilities with no fixed map, you feel dizzy. You want someone to tell you what to do, to hand you a ready-made meaning. But that dizziness is not your enemy. It's a sign that you're awake, that you're standing in front of real choices. Most people run from it. They numb it with distractions, bury it under routine, or hide behind dogmas that promise certainty. But if you stay with that feeling, if you let it teach you instead of terrify you, you discover something profound. That your life is your responsibility. Not fate, not tradition, not divine will. Yours. That realization is heavy, but it's also liberating, because if life's meaning is not imposed from outside, it can be created from within. Living instead of solving means you accept that meaning is not something you find like buried treasure, it's something you make. Every act of courage, every genuine decision, every risk you take for something that matters to you adds to that meaning. And here's the paradox. The more you act, the more meaning emerges. Action shapes belief, not the other way around. This is why Kierkegaard said life can only be understood backward, but must be lived forward. Looking back, you see the pattern, the thread, the sense. But you only get that view after the fact. Trying to demand it up front is like wanting the last page of a book before reading the story. And what about failure? People fear it as if it's the end of life, but Kierkegaard saw failure differently. To him, the only true failure is to refuse to live. Everything else is experience, material for growth, texture for your story. Think of the lives that inspire you. They're never the ones who played it safe, who clung to certainty. They're the ones who leapt, who risked, who sometimes crashed hard but kept moving. Because living fully is messy, and that's what makes it real. So what does all this mean for you? It means stop waiting for clarity before you act. Stop collecting theories like trophies while life slips by. Stop asking for permission to exist. Instead, pick one thing that matters to you and move toward it. Without guarantees, without perfection, without waiting for the fear to disappear. It won't. Fear doesn't vanish before action. It shrinks because of action. And every small step you take makes the next one easier. Kierkegaard wasn't telling us to abandon thought. He was telling us to stop worshiping it. Thought without action becomes a cage. But when thought serves action, it becomes a tool for living. That is the shift, away from solving life like a riddle and toward living it as an unfolding drama, full of risk, beauty, and surprise. So the question now is this: what are you holding back on because you're waiting for certainty? And what would happen if you acted anyway? Answer that in the comments. Your answer might be the spark someone else needs to start living instead of waiting. Thank you for staying with me through this. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who feels stuck. And remember, you don't have to solve life to live it, you just have to take the next honest step.